Hi, guys, and welcome back to the We Run on Coffee podcast with Marissa and Arika. And it's a gorgeous, sunny Sunday. Yes. And I can tell on Arika's Zoom that it's also sunny there. So, how are you feeling about the weather this week?
Honestly, that's a great question. And I'm so excited to see that we have the same weather. I feel like we're always opposite. It's always so hot where you are and like rainy here or whatever. But we've been having the sunniest, like no rain, just the best weekend. I love it.
That's good.
It's very summer vibes.
We had a little bit of rain this past week. I think it was like Tuesday and Wednesday. There was like a torrential downpour like Tuesday night. And then Wednesday for softball, it got canceled. I couldn't go anyways, but it got canceled because the outfield was all flooded and muddy. Yeah. And they needed time for it to like drain and dry up.
We had a thunderstorm Thursday that was like insane.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the weather just to like tell you what I'm getting ready to see this week. Friday, it's going to be 99 degrees. It is so... What? It is always so hot here. Okay. Like today, it's going to be 89. What's it going to be there today?
The high is 84.
Well, that's like normal. Tomorrow it's going to be 85 and raining maybe a little. So that makes sense.
Oh, we are getting in the 90s this week. I had no idea.
It says 91 on Tuesday, and then it just goes up and up and up. And then Saturday, 98, and then it starts to break a little bit. And by break a little bit, I mean it'll be 88 the next day.
Right. Holy crap, dude.
I think anything... Insane. I don't know how you feel, but I think that anything like over 88, like it's just unbearable. Like not unbearable. Like I like laying out by the pool or like getting my feet wet in the pool or whatever. But I think like it just all feels insufferably hot.
Like you get tired way faster. You can't be outside for long. You're like get exhausted and it just like almost ruins your day.
Yeah, like 85, like I'm chill. Like that's fine. Yeah. But like 88, I feel like I'm dying a little bit. Is the humidity still really bad in Ohio too?
I haven't felt too bad, but I don't know. Like, literally, I'm so native that I feel like I just don't notice. Do you know what I mean? I feel like people who visit Ohio are like, oh my God, the humidity. And I'm like, oh, really? I just don't even notice anymore. It says humidity right now is 84%. So,
okay. So it is still really high. Yeah. So I heard this thing and I don't know, like, this was on TikTok. It wasn't like a news source. Okay, but I heard on TikTok that like it was supposed to get so humid and like from Ohio over. So I guess you could say like Midwest to the East Coast. Okay. It was supposed to get so humid that it felt like a rainforest. Like that's how bad it was. And I'm pretty sure it was over the past couple of weeks, but it's been so insufferably humid here. Mm-hmm. And it says it's only 71 here right now. So I can't even imagine what it feels like there because like we would literally walk outside and it felt like you were breathing water. Like it felt like you were underwater. It was so bad.
I don't know if I'm used to it or I don't know why I don't feel like that, but we have been having such poor air quality still from the smoke. So I don't know if that's contributing. I even a random day last week that like nobody was talking about wildfires anymore. We looked at the air quality or whatever and it was like hazardous to exist outside. And I was like, okay, we're staying in tonight. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it either.
Yeah. But so I just pulled up the air. Yeah, I just pulled up the air quality map and like look at how much of Canada is on fire still.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. And it's fading down and bringing over.
Yeah, that's and so it just like it comes down and over to the East Coast. Like the West Coast, luckily they aren't getting hit because you know California wildfires are so bad anyways. Yes. So luckily they aren't getting hit with the poor air quality, but it has been really bad. And we've gotten like the tail end of the stuff that you guys have gotten recently. Yeah. But the first wave of wildfires was on the eastern part of Canada, so we got it really, really bad. And you guys didn't really get it that badly.
Wild out here. I cannot believe it. It's just crazy because it's just like you walk outside and you can't even see like your city's buildings anymore. It's like, whoa. Like, holy shit. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It do be crazy. Well, thanks for the weather report. You know, if you guys are listening, I hope this was interesting to you. That was so funny. We really tangented. It's too early. More coffee.
I know. Okay, so I also had something else that I wanted to bring up, but I don't want to forget to ask you what you're drinking. So, what are you drinking?
Okay, I promised you guys I would have something new today, so I do. Yes, and you know, I was gonna go get something like from a coffee shop because I was like, that'd be the vibe. And then I just was like, let's just get this done today. We've been so busy, so I didn't go. But instead of a brown sugar latte, I know it's not that much different, but today I made a maple cinnamon latte. Ooh. I just used like maple syrup, cinnamon, a literal splash of oatmeal cookie creamer and milk. And I have like a little iced oat milk maple cinnamon latte. And I love it.
That sounds
so good.
delicious because it sounds like fall.
I know. It's very fall-esque. I was thinking that as I was putting the cinnamon on, I was like, this is giving fall vibes.
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I'm loving it. I know you're no longer drinking a coffee, so tell us what you're drinking.
Okay, so I had an issue this morning. I don't know what it was. My milk is not bad, I promise. And it's like oat milk, so I feel like it doesn't get like sour like regular milk does.
Yeah, I don't even know.
And I just drank my coffee, and I haven't had coffee honestly in like a month or two because I've been drinking like energy drinks, so maybe it was just that like I wasn't prepared for the flavor, but it was sour and I don't know what was wrong with it. So I got an energy drink, and I'm drinking the Retro Rainbow Alani Nu. It's like it kind of just tastes like cherry Skittles, even though it's supposed to be like Skittles flavored.
Got it. Okay.
Have you seen the new Alani flavor that came out?
The Kim-Aid?
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to ask if you've tried it or if you're going to try it.
I haven't yet, but we live really close to a vitamin shop, which is like a GNC where they sell like nutrition stuff, and they sell Alani's there. So I think I'm going to go over. I've been wanting to go over all week since it came out last Friday, but I haven't had time. So I think we're finally going to go today and see if they have it.
Nice. I saw an influencer doing, I think it was Remy Cruz, and now I feel bad saying her name in case I'm wrong about what she was doing, but I think what she did was make a vodka Kim-Aid, and she was saying that the Kim flavor was really good.
Yeah. It's like an elevated vodka Red Bull, you know?
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
That's so funny.
Sounds fun, though. I'm excited. Hopefully we'll have a taste test soon.
Yeah. I also had one more thing that I wanted to bring up. Because,
okay, I'm ready.
Okay, we talked about the weather. We're talking about all these things. I had something that I had to bring up because I need to know if you've seen it. Have you seen the girl dinner trend?
No.
Oh my gosh.
No. I've heard about this, like, you're not feeding your friends enough food thing.
No.
Okay, not related?
No, not at all.
Okay, I'm off TikTok, so I'm behind.
Yeah, it's on TikTok, so you'll get it on Reels like next week.
Yeah, literally. I'll be on it. I'll be like, Marissa, have you seen this?
So there's this trend going around on TikTok right now that's called like girl dinner.
Okay.
And it's like you go out to dinner and you get like a bunch of chips and salsa and you like drink a marg and like that's your dinner instead of like actually getting an entree.
Got it.
And I fall victim to this sometimes. Like I'll just get like an appetizer because appetizers are big. Usually they're supposed to be shareable. So I'll just like get that and that'll be my dinner because I feel like sometimes
that's fine.
It sounds better.
I've done that.
But sometimes this is a little bit, maybe this is controversial, but I think that this is a harmful trend because sometimes it's like girl dinner and she has a handful of almonds and it's like giving almond mom and I'm over
almond
it.
Mom.
Like,
what is it? Like people are just saying girl dinner and then they're just putting what they eat. That's the vibe.
But it's like snacky. You know how like, it's like grazing. Like girls like, a lot of the time we'll just like graze throughout the day and then never sit down and like have like a big meal.
Interesting. And I can't relate to this. I'm like shocked.
I can sometimes. And like that's why I think like girl dinner is funny when it's like chips and salsa and a marg. Like that's hilarious to me because I will indeed go out for margs and I'll just get chips and salsa. But also sometimes it's like I eat crackers and peanut butter and that's my dinner. And I'm like, eat a meal.
I don't know. I don't know.
I just feel like sometimes it's a little bit harmful. So I wanted to know if you had any thoughts on it, but since you haven't seen it, you need to go out and like find these girl dinner reels.
I'll seek it out. I have seen one that like maybe this is actually related or not. I don't know. But I was seeing some trends that were like people were putting their like friend to dinner. So they would like host a little dinner at their house and make it a theme, like do a cute little thing. And then they would like show what they were eating or whatever. And then people were commenting being like, you're not feeding your friends enough food and like just being crazy. I don't know, like overanalyzing, if you will. So I've seen like a little bit of that, but I haven't been on this. Maybe that they were trying to do the girl dinner. I don't know.
I feel like I feel like I'm about to look this up and like put us on pause just so you can like see what I'm talking about.
I know I need to see it, but my initial thoughts are nothing. I don't know. I just can't relate. So I'm like, I don't know. I eat every single meal and I do not be skipping because I be a hungry girl.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm always hungry.
This one specifically. Okay. This is the first one that came up when I looked and it says girl dinner and it's like, this is my dinner. And she literally lays down and goes to bed. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, this is harmful.
So it's like the people that like drink iced coffee and then really call it a meal. Like for real.
Yes.
Call it a meal. Got it.
But sometimes, like I said, it's cute when it's like we go out for chips and salsa and chips and queso and marks, you know?
Yeah.
But I will send you a couple of these TikToks so that you can come back next week with your full opinion.
All right. I'll pause on my opinion. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, okay. This is a very interesting trend. I normally just like don't know, because it's just like, okay, is it funny to them? Like, are they eating dinner, but then they're just making these funny videos or what? Like, I don't get it, you know? Okay.
Yeah, but it's like giving like 2006, 2008, like Tumblr girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Tumblr girls that are like, my thighs are so skinny. Like, that's what it's giving to me, you know?
Oh, I forgot about Tumblr.
Ugh,
Opening bad memories. Okay, literally, now that we have PTSD.
Moving on. How was your week this week?
Okay, well, I did so much. Like, how my week this week was in one word would be busy.
Okay.
Since we last recorded, I did go out, and so last week's episode, you guys remember, is Arika's Guide to Being Down, and I did a lot of the things on the list this week, which is really cool. I put my phone down and I got outside, and the first thing I did was the disc golf that we were talking about last week. It was so fun. I've literally never done that. Yeah. And I was like, this is like insanely fun. I didn't realize how fun it is. It's relatively easy. Almost anyone could probably go do it. I would say I would even say it's like wheelchair friendly. If you're in a wheelchair, you can roll around and just throw the frisbee. If you have a mobility in your arms, like, you can pretty much play this. Like, it's pretty cool. You can literally ride a golf cart, I don't know, and just like throw the freaking frisbee.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, honestly. But we just walked around and threw the frisbee, and we did like 15 holes or something close to that. And it was super fun. So that was cool. It was our first time. Angela's mom bought all the equipment, so she's like, anytime you guys want to play, just come pick up the equipment from my house. I was like, honestly, it's pretty cool, and it's more approachable than real golf. So it's played the same way. You just like throw your frisbee, and then where it lands, the person like furthest goes next. Yeah, exactly. And you could do teams or whatever, but it's way more approachable than golf, because obviously, like, I can't even hit a golf ball off a tee sometimes. Like, I just miss. It's so embarrassing. So it was fun. And then Monday I had therapy. Tuesday I had this, not going to dive in too much because a lot of people I work with like might listen to this. I don't know. But I had this like, not presentation, but I had to lead a company discussion in a company meeting. And it was the format of the discussion I just like did not agree with, if that makes sense. So like, I was not fully in it, and I was like, I don't know if I agree with this approach of what we're doing, but I was kind of like voluntold to go first. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do my job because it's my job, but like, I don't agree with this. And I kind of talked to my boss about it, but that I think is what was causing me so much stress the whole week before, because after that was over, I felt so much better.
Like a weight lifted off your shoulders.
Like, yes, like deep breath, like, okay, we're gonna live. So that was good. And then Tuesday night was so cute because we went to the farmer's market again. I got outside again this week, and we met up with my friend who we don't get to see like a ton, my friend Taylor, who I've talked about, and we got dinner at a Mexican place. Mine and Marissa's favorite thing to do.
We got Mexican food so bad.
I know, literally talking about margs. I'm like, it might be 8:55 in the morning, but like, let's go.
Literally.
It's honestly so good that we don't live near each other, because we would be so bad.
No, because we would literally record at 8 a.m. and then as soon as the Mexican place is open at 11, we would go.
We would. I know. That's so funny. So yeah, farmers market and Mexican food on Tuesday. That was fun. Wednesday, I planned a date night. So it was mine and Angela's July date night. And I will just say this is a spoiler for our end of year episode, but I have kept up since January with this goal of doing one date night a month where we alternate. So that's pretty cool. And Angelo, in the past 6 years that we've been dating, has like barely ever had sushi, because I don't like sushi. And so he just never like goes to get it by himself, really. Maybe he's had it like a couple times, but I decided for date night, I'm like, what would Angelo love? I'm like, he would love to get sushi. So I didn't tell him what I planned, and I planned for us to go get sushi. There's a place in Columbus, I think it might be a chain called Fusion. It's like fast food sushi. And they have, I went very Americanized. So I got chicken in it. They had like soy glazed chicken that you can put in instead of fish. And I was like, okay, I think I can manage this. So we got sushi, and then we went to Ohio State and put a picnic blanket on the oval and just sat there and ate like a picnic of sushi. And it was so freaking fun. So that was our date night, and it was really simple, but like so nice. And we just didn't play on our phones. We did Legos instead. We brought Legos. We just like built Legos and sat on the oval and watched all the kids like do their orientation for Ohio State, which was so crazy. It made me feel a little old, but it was so cute.
2 years removed from college, literally. And you go back and see them.
Someone in my like family, we went to a family cookout yesterday, which I'll get to, and someone in my family was like, have you graduated college? And I was like, oh yeah, like I graduated in 2020.
Like,
it was so awkward. 3 years. It is so close to 3 years. I was crying, but yeah. So that was our date night. That was cute. I'm gonna speed through the rest of the week because I did something every day. Thursday night, hosted Angela's dad and siblings at my house, and I made us hibachi, which is my new famous recipe in my life. Okay. And I made hibachi, chicken, and fried rice, and then we had like pineapple and salad, and we ate on the patio. So vibes. I need to have you guys over for this patio. Like, it's so good. And then Friday, we went and saw Oppenheimer. So that was cool. I think Friday was opening night, or like Thursday midnight maybe. So went and saw Oppenheimer, and I'll give a review. And then Saturday, I had a coffee morning with my friend Taylor. She came over, coffee on the patio. Vibes again. And then we went to a family cookout for my grandma's 95th birthday. I'm so sorry, I cannot remember if it's 95, but it was a pretty high up awesome birthday. And now we're here today, and today I'm going to see my best friend from kindergarten's baby, who's turning 2 today. Aww. And it's her birthday party. It's cow themed, and I got her like all these little cow gifts. It's so cute. It's like Moo Moo. She's turning 2. It's so cute. So phew, deep breath. That was my overview. I will say, we went and saw Oppenheimer. Didn't know how I was going to feel because this is a 3-hour movie. And I'm like, we know I'm not a movie girl. And it was with a big group of like Angela's friends, which is pretty cool. So I was like, okay, like I'm going to be, I'm going to be down. I'm going to go hang out with the friends, whatever. And when I tell you, that is the most I've ever paid attention to a movie, maybe ever in the theater. Really? Every minute I was like wondering what was going to happen next. I did not look at my watch to like look at the time very much. Okay, like once or twice, but like not very much. I paid attention the whole time. I ate my popcorn. When we left, I asked Angelo, or he was like, you didn't like it, did you? And I was like, no, I actually loved it. He was like, what would you rate it out of 10? I said 9.5. He was like, what? Angelo loved it. He said he almost cried like 5 times, which is so not Angelo, but he just loved it. And yeah, I would highly recommend everyone to go see Oppenheimer. It was so good.
You need to call Oma because we had a conversation with her.
Did you?
Like, we know, I thought that you guys were going to see it this week, but I didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, I saw it last night.
Did you?
I didn't want to tell you because I was like, I wanted to hear your honest opinion first.
Wow. What did you think?
It was really good. I also really liked it. I did, in fact, look at my watch a lot, though, because I don't think that the movie had any business being that long. I think that they could have done it succinctly in like 2 hours.
That's crazy because Angelo and I left and we were like, they could have probably added a full another hour and I would have watched it. Like, I loved it. Like, I wanted to know what now. Like, when it ended, I wanted to know what happened after that with his life. But,
okay,
I did my Googling and I was fine. I don't need it to be longer, but that's crazy. I'm so glad you liked it too. Wow, what a little movie update. Everyone go see Oppenheimer.
Kyle said that we definitely need to watch it again because he said that he missed a lot of parts because we are very big subtitle watchers, and he was like, I really think that I need to watch it again with like subtitles to like be able to like read everything that's happening too and like make sure that I get the full story. And since it is such a long movie, like you're obviously not going to remember everything, even if you are paying so close attention. And so we want to make sure that like we watch it again, get the full like picture of everything.
Yeah, but I loved it. It was good.
Yeah, we called Oma yesterday and she was like, I want to see it so bad. Angelo probably already saw it. Yeah. And I was like, he did, I think.
Yeah.
And then we told her we were going to see it. And she's like, I'm so jealous. I want to go see it so bad.
That's
so
funny.
If Angelo wants to watch it again, he should take Oma.
Yes. That's really funny. Yeah, that was so good. I feel like that's something, if you guys lived here, maybe we would have all gone and saw it. That was really
definitely.
Fun.
Especially with like Connor and Sarah too. I know that Connor probably wanted to see it so bad.
This movie is so the guys. Like, it's so them. But
are you gonna go and see? Are you gonna go and see Barbie?
No, we talked about this. I was like, I don't know. I want to see it. I do want to watch it. I feel like I've heard that a lot of people thought it was actually pretty good. But I'm just not a movie theater girl like that. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to go see it or I'll just see it when it comes out out of theaters. I don't know.
That's what me and Kyle are gonna do. Like, I'm not like dying to see it because I don't care. But I think like it'd be fun to watch.
I'd watch
once it comes out on streaming.
Yep, that's how I feel. Okay, so how was your week? Mine was like obviously packed.
It was good. There was a couple of hiccups. Well, one hiccup in particular, but we had a pretty good week. Like, it was an easy start. We made some really good recipes this week. So we made ground beef teriyaki fried rice, and it was so good.
Sounds so good.
And I don't even know if I would call it fried rice. It was basically a stir fry that we served over rice. We didn't like actually put the rice in with it.
Yeah, that sounds yummy. It was
homemade teriyaki sauce, and we just put like ground beef and green peppers, broccoli, carrots, red onion, like all sauteed in with the beef, and it was so good. We also made this recipe that my mom gave us, and it's Creole chicken. So we put like 6 chicken breasts in the crock pot with like chicken broth, and it's supposed to be okra, but we couldn't find any at the store, so we did green beans, tomatoes, corn, stuff like that. And we cooked that for like a few hours, put in like the Creole seasoning, and then we served that over rice, and that was really good too. So those are our like top 2 recipes this week. And then on Wednesday, we went to a concert, so we got to see Fall Out Boy.
How was it?
It was really good, except this is where the hiccup comes in. But I'm going to save the hiccup for last.
For the end. Okay.
Yeah, but it was really good. I did not know until the day of that there was 3 openers for Fall Out Boy.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a really long concert. It started at 6:30 on the dot, and I think that we got out at like 10:30. So it was like a 4-hour long concert.
That's almost crazy. As long as the Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was insane. The first opener was this girl named Carr. She's like an alt like singer. I don't know. She was pretty good. She's newer though, so she didn't have like a really big crowd presence. Yeah. And then the next opener was Royal and the Serpent, which is a band that I've like started listening to recently.
Oh, nice.
They kind of give like punkier Paramore vibes, I would say.
Yeah.
And then, or like more heavy rock than Paramore is.
Yeah.
And then the third band was Bring Me the Horizon, which was so cool to see in person.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that I knew like a bunch of their songs.
Yeah.
And I like started like singing along to some of them, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And it's like not singing along, I guess. Like I was just like getting into it because like if you know who Bring Me the Horizon is, like they're a little bit of like heavy rock screamo a little bit, but
a little bit.
Yeah, but it was really cool to see them because like first off, Bring Me the Horizon opening for Fall Out Boy, like what? That is insane.
That is.
And then Fall Out Boy was really great. Like they played a bunch of their old songs, and then they played a bunch of their like new songs too. So it was really cool.
That's so fun. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So that was that whole concert. And
was that in DC?
No, it was in Virginia. So it's at the same place that we're going to go and see Post Malone this week. So we got a little scope out of this situation.
Damn.
And my review of this place is like an 8 out of 10. And the 2 points are solely taken away because the traffic situation getting out of the venue, not like traffic situation outside of the venue. It's just getting out of the parking lot. Terrible. Yeah. We sat there for 45 minutes not moving.
Oh my gosh.
I fell asleep in the car because it was like 11:30 and I was like, I can't do this anymore. But it was like, that was terrible. That's not even the hiccup. Are you ready for like the bad part?
I'm ready. I'm actually pretty scared.
So we were sitting in the lawn, right? And like it's nighttime, it's humid, like I've been saying, and it rained the day before. So like there's a bunch of bugs and stuff. And so I was like dealing with it. I was like, oh, there's mosquitoes, like gnats everywhere. And I kept like wiping them or like swiping them off of me. No big deal. So I'm doing that. And then all of a sudden I like feel something on my arm and I was like, get off of me. I thought it was a bug. And I was like, oh, it's wet. Maybe somebody spilled a drink on me. No. Worse. I turn around and there's this woman in her like mid-40s projectile vomiting.
Shut up.
No. Projectile vomiting forward. Like she didn't even adjust her head to like face down to the ground. She was projectile vomiting forward, and it got all over the back of my arm. And it was like 3/4 of the way through Fall Out Boy's set, and I was like, I can't leave. Like this is like it's good. So I'm like wiping my arm on the lawn chair that we rented, and I'm like sitting like this, like away from the vomit. God. And like Kyle said that he heard her throwing up, and I was like, I didn't, because I guess I was like so into the concert.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, I heard her, and if like I would have known that like you were getting splashed, I would have like pulled you forward. Yeah. But I stood up, turned around to see if somebody like threw a drink on me, because I was gonna be like, oh come on, or like something, like say something. But I turned around, see her throwing up. He like pulls his chair forward, and I'm just standing there like I had ran forward, and Kyle didn't even grab my chair, so then I have to go back, get my chair, and bring it forward.
That is crazy. She didn't say anything?
No.
Oh my God.
And then at the end of the concert, she like has her phone up in the air. She's like slumped over in her chair, and she has her flashlight on, and she's like, thank you so much. And I'm like, it's Fall Out Boy. They don't care about you.
Oh my God. That is disgusting. Okay. Are you allergic to bees?
Yeah.
Because at first I thought you were going to say it was a B, and I was like, oh my God, you're allergic. You got to go to the hospital. This is arguably maybe worse.
Way worse. But like, I would have rather.
Disgusting.
Well, I would have rather have been stung by a bee because I wouldn't have, because I didn't bring my EpiPen because they have like the weird bag policies and stuff. So I didn't want to bring it. But
that's crazy.
It wasn't the best situation.
That is so disgusting.
Yeah, it was
woman
gross.
For saying nothing. Like, things happen, but like you can make it better.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it was gross. And she was like older too. Like there was these two like girls like jumping up and down. Like I would say they were like my age or like maybe like 20 to 24 or something. And they were like jumping around in the grass behind us. And I looked at Kyle and I was like, they're going to be in for a rude awakening when they step in the vomit. And he was like, I thought it was theirs. And I was like, no, it's the 40-year-old woman next to them. It was not them.
God damn.
They're over here jumping around, listening to the music, having a good time, not vomiting.
Oh my God, that is so tragic.
Yeah, it was bad. But now that we've been talking for 25 minutes, I don't really have anything else. We went grocery shopping yesterday. I've been running. Kyle's still injured. He hurt his foot this time. That's basically it.
Wedding update. I made Marissa's invites for her bridal shower. We're so excited. Yeah. She hasn't seen them because it's a surprise.
Yeah. Natalie, Kyle's sister, is working with Arika apparently behind the scenes. She texted me yesterday because I'm making like the guest list to send to her to send out the invites and stuff. And she was like, I texted her and I was like, hey, like I'm almost there. I'm waiting for like 2 or 3 people to respond to make sure I have the right address and then I'll send it to you. And she's like, well, do you want me to send you an invite or do you want me to send you a picture? And I was like, I like a surprise. You can just email me one.
Oh, that's going to be so cute. I love it.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be so cute.
It will be so cute. Okay, well, 26 minutes in, it's been a minute, but we're gonna get started. Today's episode is very exciting because it comes from a question we got on our Instagram box. So before I start, I wanted to shout that out. Follow us on Instagram at We Run On Coffee, and on our profile, one of our story highlights, maybe our only story highlight, is where you can ask us questions, ask us for advice, give us tips, give us suggestions, tell us a story, and we'll read them on the podcast. And last week, if you listened, if you didn't, go back and listen. But last week, if you listened, we answered Brandon's question and we gave him some new music to listen to. So I hope he got to hear that and that he's checking out his new music suggestions, because that was pretty fun, to be honest. And this week we have a question from an anonymous question asker, I guess is what you can call them.
Anonymous listener.
Thank you. Anonymous listener. So Anonymous asked us any advice on transitioning from high school to college. And I thought this was a great question, and B, the perfect opportunity to make an entire college episode, because as y'all are listening to this, it's August 9th. And if you're college aged, or university, if you will, if you're not in the US, then you're about to leave. Like you're getting ready to go. You're packing. Like you are getting ready to move to college. So we're going to give you our advice on transitioning from high school to college, like Anonymous asked. And then we're also going to give you some moving tips, just a few things to throw out. So I'm really excited. I can't believe it. Marissa and I are not going back to school this year. We haven't gone back to school in a minute. So it's kind of weird. But I also feel like we have all the tips in our arsenal because we've done it a few times. Like quite a few.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's really exciting. So let's get started and let's talk about transitioning from high school to college. You want to get us started?
Yeah. So I told Arika this morning that I genuinely didn't make my list until this morning when I woke up, but I have so many tips and tricks. So I'm just going to start by telling my story of like how I transitioned to college.
This is perfect.
So when I went to college, I went to a school in my same state. So I grew up around the Columbus, Ohio area. And then I went to school in Northwestern Ohio in a town, it was a school called Bowling Green State University. It's a really small town, kind of similar to the town that I grew up in, but it felt a little bit bigger, but still gave that like hometown feel. So that's why I really liked it. But they were also the only school in the state that had the program that I was interested in going to. So I didn't really have much of an option. So like I've told you guys in the past, I was a forensic science major and I didn't really have like much options. Like I was saying, like it was the only school that I found that had a super good forensics program. And so I went there, I started school, I was part of a scholarship group, which is one of the big things that really helped me transition into college. I had something called a summer bridge program, which was 6 weeks before school started. I went to school for 3 weeks and I did like a trial run. So I lived in a dorm. We took like classes, I guess. We like kind of had homework, kind of didn't. And then we also got to know the campus, got to know the people in our scholarship cohort. and we just got to know what like college would be like. We got to eat in the dining halls and everything. Like it was like we were students. Yeah. Except we kind of had like, I guess, like somebody like chauffeuring us around, I guess. Like there was like,
no, that's so nice though.
Yeah, and we like went out and like since it was like for our scholarship, like we went to museums and stuff like in like Detroit or like in Columbus and stuff. Yeah. But I had met one of my really best friends, Courtney, the one that I talk about all the time. Yeah. She was the person that I roomed with at Summer Bridge. Wow. So she was the first person that I met, my first friend in school. And that Summer Bridge was really helpful, but I understand that not everybody has that opportunity. And even though I had that opportunity, I still didn't really feel transitioned into school. Yeah. Like I felt like I knew the most because like I got that 3 weeks and like I felt like not everybody else got that. So it was weird. And I was like, I know where I'm going, but I still don't know anybody here. Right. And it felt like there was like this divide. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I didn't know anybody that went to this school, even though it was in my state. And I was like having a really hard time meeting people. And I had kind of a rocky situation with my freshman year roommate. Like we weren't close friends. You're completely different people. Mm-hmm. And I was working and she didn't like that I was working and all of those things. But I ended up just reaching out, branching out, finding my group of people, finding my flow. And really, once I did that, I felt like I belonged. Like, and it's so crazy to say because Bowling Green's like saying, I guess, or like their school statement is like belong, stand out, go far. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I did that, and it was so weird and like so cringy. Yeah. I feel like, but once I felt like I belonged, like I could like stand out in my friend groups and like I started a leadership position in a student organization. And then now here I am like 5 states away going working far. Yeah, literally. And so that's like my story. And I'll go into like all of my helpful tips and tricks. I kind of said some of them in like that little recap, but I was curious if you had like a transition story. Yes. I know that you've kind of shared in the past a little bit, but
yeah. I love that I'm glad that you brought this up because I meant to tell us that we should say our little stories and then I completely forgot. So I'm so glad you did that. And also I just learned so much about you, which is kind of what we do here every time. I'm like, we always learn so much. But yeah, so I grew up in a super, super small town in northern Ohio, like literally directly 2 hours north of Columbus, Ohio, which is our state capital. And it was just very, very small town vibes. I don't even know how to describe it, but like, I don't know, not very many people, a couple thousand people. It was very small. Our high school graduating class like had 150, 160 kids in it. So it was fairly small and it was just not my favorite place to be. Like even growing up, I never felt super connected to my hometown. I'm like not one of those people that goes home and I'm like, hometown. Yeah. I always wanted to do something bigger. So when I was looking for colleges, I was particularly looking to go as big as I could go. I'm like, give me the biggest college, give me the biggest city. I applied to schools in California. I applied to UPenn in Pennsylvania. I applied to a lot of colleges all over the place just to see what I could do. And when I was in high school applying to college, which this is something we can actually talk about as a tip too, I did not know what to put on my applications like as my major because you have to put something. And so half the schools I was putting like art, graphic design. The other half of the schools I was putting business, marketing. I was all over the place. Like I just didn't pick one. And so some of the schools, which I didn't realize this when I was doing it, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm kind of interested in like graphic design. I'll put that. Some of these schools had really competitive graphic design programs. So they were like, no, you are not getting in here. You do not have enough experience in high school. And had I known and put business, maybe I would have gotten into those schools. But that's a tangent for another day, another time. But yeah, I wanted to go as big as I could. So I decided I want to go to Ohio State. I did a little college visit with my friend Cree, who I'm seeing today, who now has a baby. Crazy. I did a college visit with her in high school. I did kind of informally, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it was just like for really, really early kids that were like sophomore in high school, I want to say. And then I did another one getting closer to applications. And I just loved Ohio State. I loved that it was so big that you like couldn't even walk across the whole campus. Like you have to take a bus. Like it's massive. And I loved that idea. So I applied to Ohio State and then everyone was telling me that I had to apply to fallback schools. And I was like, no, I don't want to go anywhere else. And I did anyways, because you're supposed to or whatever. So I applied to Kent State, I think, and Ohio State. That might have been like it. And I already went to Bowling Green where Marissa went in high school for like College Credit Plus. So I went to the Firelands campus of that. So I kind of had that option, I would say. But what I wanted was Ohio State or die. Like, that is what I wanted. So I did get in, which is very surprising because I got direct admission into the Fisher College of Business at Ohio State, which is the 14th best business school in the nation, which is really cool. And I did not have the GPA, nor did I have the grades to get direct admit. I will forever not know why I got straight into that school, because what's supposed to happen is that you take 2 years of general eds and then you apply. But for some reason I got right in, and I will never complain. I was so happy for that. So I didn't have that stress of like wondering if I'll get into my major or having to switch. So that was really cool. But moving on campus, I also was in a scholars program. Ours was called just like Scholars. And I was in the media marketing and communications scholars group. So we all lived in the same floor in the same dorm, and we did scholars all throughout the school year. And so that was really cool. And I don't want to say it helped me make friends, but it did help me get somewhere. Like, I was talking to people, I was finding out what I did and didn't like as qualities in friends, and I didn't like stick with a lot of the people from that group, but I still learned so much. And like, I lived with them and they felt like comfortable. It felt like having a family. It felt like even if these people aren't my best friends, I can definitely come back to my dorm and like they'll be there and we'll talk about it, and it's like chill. Aside from that, I did a program called OWLs, which is Ohio Welcome Leader. So I was an OWL at Ohio State, which meant that I moved in and all the other OWLs moved in a week or a week and a half early. And then we were the workers, if you will, that helped other students move in on move-in day. So I did that, and that's where I met Cheyenne. I hope I can say her name. I feel like that's fine. And this is where I met my friend Cheyenne that I lived with. She lived in my dorm, and our dorm was, I would say, kind of traditional style, but it was larger than most. So it had a living room, a bathroom, and 4 bedrooms inside of it. And throughout that whole group, we had 10 girls. So that was a very interesting experience because I feel like in college, when you live with a lot of girls, it's usually in a sorority. But I never did Greek life. I still lived with 10 girls, and it was insane. I will say Cheyenne is like the only remaining like friend that I had throughout that experience. The other 8 girls and I were not really friends. It wasn't like fighting or like having hostility, really. It was just like, okay, some of us get along and some of us do not, and we're just gonna like keep it that way. So I don't know. That was kind of my experience of moving into college, but I will say that being in Scholars and doing that Ohio Welcome Leaders program, not only did I get acclimated to campus kind of like you before everyone else, like I had a full week to walk around and like see things, eat the food, like know which dining halls were good and that kind of thing. But I also like got to meet Cheyenne a week early. So I felt like I had at least one person going into school that I could like talk to and maybe be friends with, which we did. We ended up being like really close friends all through college. So all that to say, that's kind of my college story. And my first advice that I wrote down that kind of goes right along with that is just to be open to any relationship. Like,
I put to be open-minded as my first one.
Yes. And that's a good one because it's like, just be open to any relationship. So like I went into this OWL program, or I went into the Scholars. Like I said, I didn't have any real friends like through the Scholars program besides Cheyenne, but I still talked to the people. I was still nice to everybody. I still made conversation. I still tried to relate, because the more you're open to any relationship, the more friendships you're welcoming into your life instead of just being closed off and like not allowing things in, if that makes sense. So yeah.
I agree. And I think that college is like the perfect place where it's like, it's a melting pot. Even if you go to school, like at my school, like it was still very heavily people from Ohio, and like that's just like the culture at Bowling Green. Like you go around and like it's either people from Columbus or from Cleveland, and like I feel like that's really it. But it was so cool because you get to meet so many different people from so many different walks of life. And like even if like you don't go to a school like Bowling Green and you go to a school like Ohio State like Arika did, like there's so many people there too, and there's so much diversity. So if you're just open-minded to learn about other people's walks of life, I find that so fun and like fascinating because everybody's different, and like I want to know like how you got to be where you are today.
Yeah, it's huge. And I also, what I think is so empowering about college, and that I wrote actually as my very first tip, and what I find to be the most important in my experience, is that when you go to college, Anonymous and anyone listening, when you go to college, you can be whoever you want to be. And I wrote capitalize on that, because that was like the biggest part of my college experience, was feeling like I could finally just be who I wanted to be. In high school, like I said, my town was small. So from kindergarten till 12th grade, you're in the same class with the same people. You know everybody. Like I knew everyone in my whole school's name. You know them all. You see them all every day. And no matter what, it's like you kind of get solidified into this position that you were in kindergarten, first grade, second grade. So like if you grew up shy, you're shy.
Yeah.
And I felt like that all through high school. And when I went to college, I felt like the most empowering thing was like, okay, I'm going to be outgoing. I'm just going to decide to be outgoing. And it was like hard and scary, but like no one around me knew that I wasn't before. They just think I'm an outgoing person. They think I've been like that my whole life. So I wrote, capitalize on being whoever you want to be. And I feel like that is the biggest piece of advice. Like anything you've longed to be, you're like, oh, I wish I could be more kind. I wish I could be more friendly. I wish I could be more outgoing. Do it. There is nothing stopping you.
Yeah. And I think like once you kind of find who you want to be, the next step is to really just like get involved with the people that are similar to you. As much as it's important to find friends that are different from you, it's also super important to find people that are the same, because you know that you're always going to have something to talk about. And that's like my next piece of advice, is just to get involved. And that's what I did when I found Charge. So the way that I found Charge is that I went into class, and this is one of my other pieces of advice. It's don't be afraid to sit next to someone in class that you think looks cool.
Yes.
That's exactly what I did in one of my chemistry classes. I went up to one of my friends now. Her name is Ashton. And I went up, I sat next to her, and she was like, she kind of looked at me weird, and she was like, who is this? Like, is she sitting in my seat? But then she sat down and she's like, hey, like, who are you? Like, you haven't sat here. And I was like, oh, I'm Marissa. And she was like, yeah, you're always in workout clothes. Like, do you like going to the gym? And I was like, yeah, I go to the gym after this class. That's why I'm always in my workout clothes. She was like, oh, that's cool. Like, have you heard of Charge? And I was like, I haven't. And so she introduced me to it. I called my mom and I was like, Mom, this seems really cool. Like, should I join? And she's like, absolutely, you should join. And so my mom paid for like my admission into like the like club and everything. And that's how I found Charge. And that's how I really found like the group of people that made me feel like I had something to do. Like I had work, I had class, but I had this like group of people that I could meet with twice, maybe 3 times a week, every week. And it was so cool because they all like thought the same. Like Charge isn't just a workout group. It's all about like empowering women. And I was like, that's what I love. And so I did it. And I was like, this is so great. Now I have my group of friends that I can always hang out with.
Yeah, that's so huge. And I totally agree. I had a little bit of a hard time like deciding to join things. I was just, and I still do, and we all know this if you listen to the podcast, because I just like feel so anxious about social interaction and like doing something like that. But in college and in high school and now, as you guys know, I was very interested in like social media, photography, videography, video editing. And so I just on a whim, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to join photography club. And I went, and sometimes I didn't talk to people. I just sat there and like smiled and like listened to conversations, and that's okay. Like just get yourself in the room. Like even if you feel like you can't talk, in a couple weeks you'll feel a little better. Like I promise. Yeah. So just get yourself there, go in. And there is the cool thing about college, especially if you're going to like a larger sized college or university, there is a club for everything. Like you can find something you're interested in. Not only are there sports, there's photography club, book club. And you know what? If there's not a club, you can start a club. Like you're allowed to do that. You can do whatever you want. So I feel like that's a really good one, is just like get involved and just get yourself in the room is my biggest, like get your foot in the door, sit down and just join the conversation. And even if you don't feel like you can verbally join, just put your body in there, because it'll get better. And
I'm going to sound like the tour guide that I was, because I was a tour guide at my school.
No way. That's so cute.
But Bowling Green it's a smaller school. I'd say that undergrad population's between 15 and 20,000. And I know Ohio State's way bigger than that. Yeah. But we had over 450 student organizations. Yeah. So any school has something that you can get involved in. And I'm not going to lie, it's exactly like that scene in Pitch Perfect where everybody's out there like repping their clubs. Yes. Go to that org fair.
Yes, go to the club fair. I forget what that was called at Ohio State, but yes, you have to. It's always usually like a week into school starting. Go to the club fair. What is that called? Involvement fair. Student involvement fair or whatever. And all the people have booths set up to like talk about what their club is. Like go to that with your friends, or go to that with someone from your dorm. You might not have friends yet. That's okay. Just see if anyone else is going. Walk around, get some free merch, some swag. Yes. And just see what's going on.
Yeah, genuinely, like, I know that it's annoying to, like, get so many emails, but put your email down, because
for everything. You can unsubscribe later.
Yeah, these, like, groups, like, genuinely coming from, like, my analytical side of Charge things, like, we need emails, so, like, you're helping us out, but also, if you don't get the information, how are you going to know if you like it or not?
Not only that, it's totally okay if you join a club and you don't go to everything. Okay. Yeah. You don't have to be like the most dedicated member that goes to every meeting and is super involved and like goes to a leadership position. You can, if you love it. You can also be in like 3 clubs and go to a meeting here and there and like really just make some friends, build your interest, and see what you like. You don't have to, you know, like dedicate your whole college career to going to one club.
You don't have to be crazy like me and get a tattoo for the club that you joined in college.
Right. You can be like Arika. You can be like shy but trying to be outgoing and just be in the corner, and like that's okay. Like whatever you can do is okay, but definitely just get involved. I love that advice.
Yeah.
I have some advice for like class stuff. So I want to just rattle them off really quick. Okay, good. Because these are like kind of simple, but I just want to throw them in. I wrote, and this is totally person to person, but I feel like the overwhelming idea is avoid 8 a.m. classes. Even if you're a morning girly, because it's so hard. I was a morning person and I still had a hard time with this because I was having such a hard time like balancing social life, getting to bed, waking up, walking to my 8 a.m. in the winter. First of all, that sucks, especially
if you're staying in college, like staying in Ohio for college, it's terrible.
You need a winter coat. This is my advice, Anonymous, because I do know that Anonymous lives in Ohio. Girl, you need to take a winter coat to college. Like you need one.
It needs to be to your knees.
Yes,
not lying.
Like a down jacket, like that goes all the way down, and like hat and gloves. Make sure you have that stuff because you feel like, oh, whatever, like it'll be. No, you need it, especially if you're walking.
You need it.
My 8 a.m. was probably, I want to say, 5 to 10 minute walk from my dorm, and it was so cold in the winter. So I wrote avoid 8 a.m.s. This is not for everybody, okay? It's just like my little advice. It always helps to have like even a 9 a.m. is better than 8 a.m. It's so hard to get up before 8 and like get coffee, get breakfast, get yourself to your class, pay attention in your class, and then leave. I struggled with that. And then I'm going to rattle off my other ones really fast. So I also wrote, go up and introduce yourself to your professor after the class is over. Even at my school, at least, like at Ohio State, it was massive. So like they will not know you unless you go say hi to them. At other schools, for instance, the classes are small. You talk to your teacher, you get called on, things like that, kind of similar to high school. So it depends on who you are. But I would say just go up and say, if you don't have anything to say to them, just say, thank you for your lecture today. Like that was really awesome. And I'm so excited to be here. And this is my name. And at least get a face to the name. And then my last one for classes, and then I'll like let you dive into yours too, is go to office hours. So this was really big again at Ohio State because the classes are so huge. There's honestly not always time for people to ask questions in the class. Like sometimes it's a lecture and you leave. Go to office hours, talk to the TAs, talk to the teacher. Even if you don't feel like you specifically need help or assistance on a certain problem that you're working on or whatever, it's really nice to go to office hours and be with other kids who are in office hours. You'll meet people from your class. You can sit with them in class, ask them questions, etc. So I just think all of those things are like really good for class in college. Like those things were hard for me, but they helped me.
Yeah, I agree. I have one more that's more social, and then I'll go into my my class heavy stuff. So the first one is if you don't fit into the party crowd, that's okay. You can always go to the parties and not drink if you want to go to the parties.
Yeah.
And I was not a partier in college. I didn't go to anything until I was a junior, and like I had COVID when I turned 21. So like it was weird. So I didn't go to any parties or anything until I was a third year in college and I was 21, and then it was COVID and it was weird anyways.
Yeah.
But you can definitely go to the parties. You can go to the bars and not drink. Your friends aren't going to be weird about it. Some of them might be like, you're in college, why aren't you drinking? You'll be like, I don't want to. And then that's fine.
You'll find out who your friends are too.
Yes. And I had I have so many friends that I'm still friends with. I had like 3 different groups of friends, and when I didn't drink, that was fine. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. But if you want to try new things, this is the perfect time for you to do it too.
Yeah, it's so true.
That's my biggest piece of advice, I think. Though.
I love that advice. And I was just so opposite of Marissa. I spent my first 2 years of college partying, hence no 8 a.m.s. Could not make it there. And I spent my first 2 years of college partying, and I genuinely in my soul, I know I did that because I was trying to make friends. I was trying to fit in. I was trying to like be in that crowd because I was so set on not being who I was in high school, like not being shy, not being sheltered, having no friends because I feel so scared to like be outgoing. So I went to a lot of parties. I did the party scene, and it was okay. Like I don't regret it because it got me here, but I learned in like my sophomore year, I kind of flipped, and I learned like, oh my God, I don't have to do that. Like I can enjoy like reading books and being outside and going on hikes to different parks around the city and driving around and going to the movies and like doing something other that revolves around like how I feel rather than that revolves around drinking, if that makes sense. So you can first of all, you can do neither. You can do both, but you can do whatever you want to do. So just don't let the pressure like really cave in on you. And I don't even think mine was social pressure. It was more internal pressure from myself of being like, you need to be like other kids. You don't. Like, I'm here to tell you that you don't. You don't need to be like other kids unless you want to. You need to be whoever you want to be.
Yeah.
So I love that.
If you want to go and hang out with your friends and go to the bars, that's totally cool. Just don't order a drink. That's what I did. I went to so many house parties with my friends, not like frat parties, but like house parties. And I went to like bars and stuff with my friends too. I just never drank at them until
or order, if you want to look like you're having a drink, order cranberry juice or order a juice or order a water or order a soda. You can order like Coke or whatever.
The bartender's not going to look at you funny because he's still getting paid.
Mad respect. He probably has mad respect for you because you're being nice. Not just being, like, crazy.
Just order a little cup of Sprite. Like nobody's gonna know.
So good. And be like, oh yeah, vodka soda. No.
Yeah. But you can also go around and explore things too, because that Sunday morning when all of your friends are hungover and you don't want to take care of them, go for a hike.
Yeah.
Because
go to the farmer's market.
Yeah. You were up late with them partying. You had your time with them, and then go have your me time the next day.
I love it. Yeah, that's so true. And I have one more social one that kind of goes along with this, and it just goes with like making friends in college, or like even acquaintances. I like to say making acquaintances too, because a lot of people I was friends with in college I don't talk to anymore, and I feel good about that. Like, I feel okay about that. But I wrote, leave if you're moving, anonymous, or anyone. I'm talking to anonymous though, because I really want to address your question. Leave your dorm room door open if you're living in a dorm, or if you're living in a communal apartment with other college kids. I'm not saying that if you like live in a house somewhere to leave your door hanging open. Not saying that. But if you live in a dorm building, this is very common when you move into college for the first time as a freshman. You can just leave your door open, put a little doorstop in front of it, and people will peek their heads in and be like, hey, what's up? And that is like a really cool way to make some friends in college, or just get to know the people around you. That worked really well for us.
My biggest regret is that I decided that I wanted to live in a dorm my first year that had a bathroom in the suite.
Yes, so did ours.
So instead of doing like traditional style where we all share like the communal bathroom and stuff, we had our own bathroom, and with that our door automatically shut, because with like the privacy of the bathroom, the door automatically shut. But in the traditional residence halls where you had the communal bathroom, the door was able to be left open.
Yes.
And that was my biggest regret, because I feel like I wasn't able to meet anybody on my floor because my door was always shut.
Yes.
And that, like I said, my biggest regret. So if you're like kind of teetering on the edge of wanting to stay in a suite or stay in a traditional style residence hall, honestly opt for the traditional style residence hall and suck it up and get some shower shoes, because you're going to meet so many more people that way.
Definitely get some shower shoes. That's such a good practical tip.
Yes.
It's nice. It is nice. Like in my freshman year, we had similar kind of thing. So like our door was heavy and like kind of automatically closed, but we just like shoved it open and put something in front of it, like a chair. So that was okay. But like also it was nice to have our own bathroom in our dorm, just because we knew how clean it was, even though there was 10 of us. But like we knew, I didn't wear shower shoes. It might be gross, but like we had 2 showers, 10 girls, and like we kept our shit nice. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's such a good tip of like, you know, if you want to opt for the communal bathroom, like don't be scared of it. I guess is what we're saying. Like, don't be scared of it. It helps build just a lot you really feel a part of it.
They typically get cleaned twice a day by like the janitorial staff, so it's not that dirty. No. Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. Yeah, don't be scared by our advice. Okay, well, that's all I had on transitioning, and then I have moving tips. What else do you have for transitioning?
I have 3 more tips for class stuff. So I don't know what major Anonymous is going into, but I was a STEM major. Yeah. So I'm going to give you all of the scary but true things about STEM majors.
Yeah.
The STEM major classes are insufferable for the gen eds. They are terrible. I'm not going to lie. They are used to weed people out. That is the purpose of gen eds. Yep. That's why they're so big. That's why they're so difficult. But once you survive those, you will have so much more fun in your actual major classes. I had a terrible GPA in college. My GPA was a 3.1. Not terrible, but
that's not terrible.
Not great. And that is like a C average, basically, is what my GPA was, because my gen eds were so hard. I got C's in all of them, besides like my biology ones, because those ones made sense to me. But they're meant to weed out the people that aren't going to be able to, I guess, thrive in the remaining hard classes. But that's okay. It will feel like the end of the world, but you're not the only person getting C's, and you will still graduate. I promise. Because after you finish those gen eds and you get into your major classes, you will understand that things aren't as hard as they seem, because you're actually learning about what you're interested in once you get to those major classes.
Yeah, I have something too that goes right along with that. And you'll, Anonymous, and anyone going to college, you'll hear this. You'll hear differing opinions on this, but I'm going to tell you mine. No one has ever asked me for my college GPA applying for a job.
No.
And so many people will try to tell you, oh my God, you need to put it on your resume, or someone's going to ask you. You can put it on your resume if you want, but I have not. And I have never once been asked what my college GPA was. And to be honest, nobody gives a fuck. If you can do your job, and you can do your job well, and you're a good person, you're trustworthy, and you have these like more like, what is that? Like soft skills, I guess, like different qualities about yourself that make you like a good worker. They don't care what your GPA was. No. So like, don't worry. And also, by the way, this kind of goes along with academics. It's okay to fail a class.
Yes.
Like, it's okay. I failed a class almost twice that I needed for my major. And I was getting to the point where if I failed it again, like I would be kicked out of my major. But I did not let that thought creep into my mind. Like I just kept pushing on, keep trying. And like, I made it through and it was okay. And you know what? I'm not good at accounting. That's fine. Like I failed accounting. I got like a D in accounting and just barely passed it the second time. And I don't need to use it in my everyday job. So I don't feel bad about that. And also, you can't be perfect at everything. So like, don't expect to go in and get an A in every class, because it's okay if you don't. And you don't need to be good at everything. Just be, honestly, just like be a good person. And like that'll get you so much further than your GPA.
Yeah. And my next one, it kind of goes off of what you said earlier with the office hours. Mine is just use your resources.
Yes.
So a bunch of colleges have like these underground resources, I would say, that you kind of have to seek out, which is unfortunate, but they are available to you. So some examples are tutoring services, study groups, office hours. I know that my university in particular, we had something called the Learning Commons, and it was built in study hours, like where there was somebody that had gotten an A in the class previously, worked in the Learning Commons, and you could go and they would do your homework with you to make sure that you knew what you were doing. So definitely use that. Talk to your academic advisors or even faculty mentors that you have and see like, hey, I'm having trouble in this. How can I like, is there another class that I can take that can get approved to like take credit for this one? Things like that. Talk to your friends in class, make those friends in class, because you can form a study group if there isn't already one. And like Arika said, ew, what did my throat just do? Like Arika said, let's like use your office hours. That is the biggest piece of advice that I have, because if you go during office hours, you might be the only one there. And even if you aren't getting like a big amount of help from that, like if you're not able to like put the concepts together, no worries. Your professor now knows that you're trying, and they're going to use that. Professors at the end of the semester have the discretion whether to pass you or not, and it's completely independent of your grade. If they saw that you were working hard and you're at like a 68% and you need that 70 to pass, they will give you a C. I've gotten that done so many times to me because I showed effort in my classes, and my professors told me, they were like, I see that you're really trying to get this concept and it's still not sticking, but because you're trying so hard, you pass. That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's necessarily just because of like I was in a hard major, but it did happen multiple times. And I was so grateful, because I don't know what I would have done if I wasn't able to pass these classes.
Yeah. Also, that goes along with something else that I thought of is don't give up. If you're getting close to the end of the semester and like you're not sure if your grade's going to pass or not, don't cut yourself off. Don't skip the exam. Like go take it, put in your best effort, because a lot of times too, like most times at Ohio State, your professor can decide to curve the grade and bump a lot of people up a whole entire letter grade. So even if you're about to end a class and you have like a 59% and you need a 62 or whatever, like whatever the situation is, stay there. Keep trying, like don't give up and don't write yourself off. This even happened with Angelo last semester. He had a horribly hard class, and I remember giving him the advice. I said, Angelo, can you pass if you get 100% on your exam? And he was like, no. And I was like, then don't take it. I literally told him to give up, and he didn't. He did not listen to me. He defied. He went and he took the exam, and he fucking passed the class. Like by the skin of his teeth, like barely passed the class. And I was like, you're right. That was bad advice. And so I'm here to tell you, Anonymous, and anyone out there, just keep trying until the end of the semester. It's hard. It's going to suck. A lot of times you're going to want to quit your classes. Like I hear you. I get it. But just give it your best try, because sometimes it becomes worth it in the end.
Yeah. And this is probably a controversial piece of advice, but it's okay to skip class. I know, especially now with like, I feel like in college in general, a lot of times the professor just talks at you and isn't actually teaching you anything, and all of the learning materials are on whatever like online software you use for your class. And a lot of times the lectures are reposted on there. If you feel like it's a waste of your time to go to that class and just have somebody talk nonsense at you, that's okay. Stay home, because at the end of the day, you're basically teaching yourself anyways if your professor is not having an active lecture.
Yeah, a lot of times too, I will say that it's becoming so much more common that the class is in person and recorded. So they'll put up the lecture on your like portal afterwards, and you can go back and watch it. I've skipped classes in college too. I tried to like give myself incentive though to still go to a lot of them, because some of them were real hard for me. I took some weird classes that I was like, what is going on here? We should do a whole episode on like classes that we took, because I definitely took some unique gen eds. I feel like some really interesting ones. But yeah, I hear that, and I definitely have mixed views. Like, I think sometimes you're just not feeling it. So if you're really like not going to learn, then you don't like just stay home. But I would challenge you to still put some effort into learning what was talked about. Like, watch the video or look up a YouTube video or email the professor and be like, I had to take a mental health day for like my whatever. Do you have any resources that I can look at that might help me get where I need to get? And professors are people. Like, they will be more understanding than you expect them to be if you just treat them with kindness. I feel like my whole advice is just be a good person in this episode, but it's true. Like, just be kind to like other people, and you'll be surprised what you get in return, I think.
Yeah, I also think that a really big piece of advice is, oh no, it's losing. I'm losing it. You go. You say something.
Okay. So, well, mine, I don't have any more things besides moving tips. Do you have any final advice tips?
Well, I thought I did, but it's gone now. It's gone. My brain just broke.
Okay, so we're at an hour, and I almost feel like cutting this episode off, but I don't want to do that, because y'all, if you're listening to this, are going to move into college before we can talk to you about moving again. Yes. So I'm going to rattle off my tips so freaking fast, because I'm sure you're bored at this point. I hope not, but maybe. So these are my moving tips, rapid fire, okay? Source cardboard boxes from your friends. I've never in my life went to Home Depot and bought a cardboard box, and I think that you'll be surprised if you just like ask around. Just be like, hey, do you have any cardboard boxes? I buy so much shit on Amazon. I've like given my boxes to like a million people, and also like, if you know other people who just moved into their college dorm or whatever, like they might have boxes you can use. And not only dorms, apartments. So that's my first one. Source cardboard from friends and family. Okay, so that's just a silly one, kind of. And then I have determine your must-haves for college, right? Or for just moving in general. Determine your must-haves. This one's, I guess, more college specific, but I wrote also don't shy away from things that will make you happy, even if they are impractical, if that makes sense. So like when I was moving to college, I remember my mom was trying to get me to be like super practical, and she's like, are you ever really going to use that? Or is that too big for your space? And there were a few things that I was like, you know what? I want to bring it. And I brought it, and I was so happy I did. For instance, I brought a quesadilla maker. Sounds so random and silly. And my mom's like, are you even going to use that? Yes, I did. I used it. It brought me joy. I felt happy. So like determine your must-haves and know what those are. Like you need shower shoes. But also if you have something fun that might not be practical or is kind of like bulky, if you know that it's something you want to bring it. And you'll be happier for it. Pack from the ceiling down. This is what I wrote. So things on your walls are things you don't really need. So like if you're worried about packing, you're trying to get ready early and be prepared, pack from the ceiling down is always what I say. Take off your curtains. Like if you have blinds, you can close your blinds still. Take off your curtains, take off your decor, take pictures off the walls, and then move your way down to the floor. That's my big advice. And then my last one is have a day of bag. So have deodorant, perfume, an outfit or two, water bottle, etc., maybe a book or like your laptop in a separate bag from all your moving stuff, because even if you're a dedicated person, even if you're like, oh my God, I'm definitely going to get there and I'm going to unpack and do everything, you might get to your apartment or you might get to college and you might be tired. Or you might go out and like people will be like, hey, hi, nice to meet you. Like you want to come hang out with us? And you're going to want to say yes to those opportunities. So like give yourself that day of bag so that you can survive for like a day or two and get by without having to like unpack all your shit. So rapid fire moving tips with Arika. Done. Yeah,
I only have two because I remember when I did the how to move halfway across the country, I gave a lot of moving tips. So
yes,
I was
go
like,
listen to that, everyone.
Yeah, I was like, let me just keep it a little bit short. So I liked the feeling of having like completely committed to the idea of being at college. So I moved everything. Yeah. This is not necessary. A lot of my friends left like their winter clothes at home because they didn't need them until like later in the year. But if you're going to school in Ohio, you need your winter clothes like the second week of school. So yeah, I feel like you should bring them. Yes. And I just like decide what you want to take, because you can completely commit and you can take everything. And I liked the idea of having all of my stuff close to me, but it does also get crammed. So you can pick and choose. And like Arika said, bring the things that are going to bring you joy, but also bring the things that you absolutely need.
Yep. Your must-haves.
Yeah. And then the second one is take advantage of back to school sales. I know Ohio's
tax-free weekend.
Yes, Ohio specifically, not all of the United States. Yes. Ohio has tax-free weekend, which is coming up. It's usually the second week of August, I think, or maybe the first week of August. So if you're listening to this, it might be tax-free weekend. And
I hope we didn't miss it. Oh, we missed it. I'm so sorry if you're listening to this. We didn't miss it, but like our listeners did. It will be August 4th through 6th.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, you guys. It was this past weekend. I hope you made it.
I hope you made it. But Target also has a big back to school sale, like basically now, which today is the 23rd of July until like school starts. They do huge back to school sales. So go and check out Target. Take advantage of all of the sales that you can find, and make sure that you talk to your roommate if you have one before you get to college to make sure that you guys aren't bringing duplicates of things, because that gets super annoying. Because if you can't send it back with your family, or if whatever, it's just gonna get too crowded in your room and kind of be annoying. So make sure that you have those conversations beforehand.
That's good advice. For tax-free weekend, I want to shout this out really quick. If you're listening to this, I found that thing that lists every state that does a tax-free weekend and when it is. So if you're listening to this episode on August 9th when it comes out, there's still a chance for some people to go and get tax-free weekend. So I'm gonna shout them out really quick. If you're in Connecticut, August 20th through 26th. If you're in Florida, you have until September 4th to get these. In Florida, September 4th, September 8th. It depends on the item. It seems like Florida has a lot of different rules, it looks like. And if you're in Maryland, August 13th through 19th. So maybe if you're near Marissa, you can check it out. Or if you're in, your little tri-state or whatever area, you can get, go over to Maryland for the weekend. August 25th through 27th for Mississippi. And then we have Nevada is in October 27th to 29th. Jersey till September 4th. What else? Tennessee has till October 31st.
What?
And
it's crazy to me that these are so late.
They're so late. Texas has August 11th through 13th. So if you're in one of those states and you want to check out tax-free weekend, I may also try to post this on our Instagram story before this episode goes up for everyone else. But yeah, I want to shout that out really quick.
And make sure that you look up the rules to your tax-free weekend, because I know Ohio, it's nothing over $70. So it's $69.99 or less that you can get tax-free on. Yeah. And it's only certain items
like clothes and like school supplies, office supplies, whatever, maybe food, I'm not sure, but stuff like that.
And you can get shoes too, because I remember I got shoes one time, but you cannot get groceries tax-free, I'm pretty sure is like the limit.
Google it if you're listening to this, see if you still have a chance to go and see what your actual rules are, because it's pretty good. But what a mouthful this episode was. I had no idea we were gonna go this long. I feel like it was really good advice, so I hope this helped Anonymous, and I hope this helped anyone listening for your transition from high school to college. Like, have fun. It is such an exciting time in life. So I'm so excited for you. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, I'm so excited for everybody going to college.
Yes, like if you're out there listening and you're going, like, really, truly, all of this advice can be helpful, but just have fun with it. That's my big takeaway, and I love it. Do you have anything else that you want to share with the listeners before we head out?
I don't think so. I think that we should definitely do another episode of just basically like our college experience and what we did.
Yeah, once we started talking about it, I realized how much there is in my brain that I like never revisit, which is so crazy. But okay, so thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Anonymous, for your question. I really hope we answered it today. If you all are listening and you have a question you want us to give advice on, which, by the way, could be like last week where we touched on it in an episode, or it could be like this week where we made it the whole episode, because these are like really important questions, and I'm so glad, Anonymous, that you asked this, because I think it gave us so much to talk about. So follow us on Instagram, like I said, at We Want Coffee, and you can ask us any questions you guys would like. Make sure you follow our podcast and rate us 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening. And I think that's pretty much it. We're gonna go. We've had so much talking today. I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next week. And with that, I'm Arika.
And I'm Marissa. And we run on coffee.
Bye.